Welcome to the Power of Great. I'm your host, Matt Crane, and every single week we come to you right here on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, and Pandora with one simple mission in mind. And that's to help you recognize that your current situation is not your defining moment. And I got to tell you, this week's guest is not known as the Super Coach for anything less than that very reason. Coach Micheal Burt. Not only is he a friend, he's been a mentor of mine, and he's known as the Super Coach because of his unique blend of a former championship coach who has an entrepreneurial mindset. You know, Coach Burt has quickly become the go-to business coach for aggressive-minded companies in competitive and saturated marketplaces and travels all over the country to help people who want to look different, run faster, and be agile. Coach Burt has authored over 10 books, including the bestseller Person of Interest, How to Become the Person Other People Want a Piece of and Can't Live Without, and the widely published Zebras and Cheetahs, Look Different, Run Faster, Be Agile. But more importantly, Coach Burt is known for more impact statements per minute than most speakers and is consistently ranked as the best session on the conference docket. My man, Coach Micheal Burt, welcome to the Power of Great.
Boy, that was good. I'm motivated, man. I'm motivated already. That motivated me to get even better.
That's good. Right, I love that.
Thank you for having me. Love your energy. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Coach. Well, you know, Coach, it's no secret that you and I have a history together. I love what you do. We've crossed paths. We did some business together. We got a lot of learning. I got a lot of coaching from you. Mm-hmm. And to have you on the show is a culmination of what I said at the very beginning. Your current situation is not your defining moment. You know, Coach, I remember a story you told me that you were raised by coaches at the ball field, at the gyms, and how that had a profound impact on your life. So at a very early age, how did you know that being in a coaching role was something that you were destined to be?
When I backtrack my life to – I got asked this in a podcast just the other day. What was the first moment that you remember from your childhood? And when my mind went back to that moment, it was 6 years old, local baseball field, woman coach, Mickey Vincent, who said to me, son, one of these days you are going to be a great coach at 6 years old. Now, let's fast track to today. I'm 40 years old this year, and last night I was back teaching at my new Greatness Factory of Woodbury, and guess who was in that little success school? That coach, Mickey Vincent's granddaughter, was in that class last night, and I said, we're bringing it all the way back home, girl. Because your grandmother's the one that started this whole thing.
You know, I tell you, speaking of that, I got to commend you on what you're doing in your little town of Woodbury as well with that Greatness Factory. To see that come to life and then to see what you're doing with those children and how you're taking the responsibility at a very early point in their life to reach down and be their coach and provide them with a bigger way of thinking, a bigger way of seeing, and a bigger way of hearing the world around them is something that I truly hope that people walk away from this interview knowing that being a coach is much more than just coaching people and training people. It's impacting people. And that's something that you do. And I tell you, I love the fact that it all come full circle, right? Because being back in Woodbury also brings it full circle for you, don't you think?
Well, it does. And, you know, I think a lot of people complain about, you know, you talked about it earlier in your podcast, you know, their current situation. And I always heard people from my hometown say, we don't have any opportunity. We don't have any energy. We don't have a gym. We don't have a place to go. And they're really just kind of complaining about it. And what I posted last night on my Facebook was, let's quit complaining about it and let's do something about it. So here's my contribution to this. A Greatness Factory in that hometown. It offers a gym. It offers success schools. We're doing faith-based series. It offers a place for businesses to come. I'm going to be doing small business summits up there. Now, let me tell you something. It ain't about money. We're not going to make a lot of money up there. But what we're going to do is we're going to impact people. And maybe other people take notice and they get involved and they do something in their hometown. And so we're not going to forget where it all started. We're going to go back and actually do something about it versus just say thank you for helping raise me when I was a kid, right?
Absolutely. And that brings me to my next point, Coach. You've authored 10 books. You have probably the most elaborate and extensive content that I've seen in this arena. I mean, you're constantly putting out content, developing new products, thinking of new ways to enhance your programs. And what I heard right there is really what comes out of one of my favorite books that I've ever read, The Inspirational Leader.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Coach, you're one of those people that is a practitioner of what you preach, whether it's good times, whether it's bad times, whether it's those in-between times. As a coach, and especially in this, and you say this all the time, saturated and fast-paced commodity marketplace, how do you stay motivated? What really inspires you to go to that next level that most people won't go?
I think at some point in your life, you move, Dyer always called this from the morning of your life to the afternoon, from recognition to impact. And that's really over the last 3 or 4 years affected me. Now that I have a family, now that I have a daughter, now that I'm thinking about legacy. And so what really motivates me is number of people impacted on the planet. And so I'm not interested in the recognition as much anymore as I am the impact. That drives me. That fuels me. We had a phone conversation this morning with one of our new customers, and he said, Coach, quite frankly, I was skeptical. I was skeptical about coaching. I was skeptical about you. I was skeptical about this. But he said, after yesterday's Monster Producer class, I got to tell you, you are legitimate. And the impact you're having on me. Well, we're now measuring this in our office. We now measure the number of success stories we have in a week. Unsolicited success stories, unsolicited impact stories. I don't care how they come in, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I don't care if they're emails, phone calls. But when they tell us something like that, it's like we're going to ring a bell and say, that worked. We just got paid. Not financially. We're getting paid financially, but we're getting paid in other ways too. Money's actually the sixth way you get paid. You get paid in love and affirmation and referrals and reputation. And when he said that, my eyes lit up. I told, hey, Keisha, success story. We just had one. And that's how we get paid.
So, being a coach, coming from the athletic realm to the professional realm, what was some of those early, big challenges that you faced? And when was that aha moment that kicked in for you where you were like, okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to tackle this realm?
What I saw in the athletic world was the athletic world needed more business concepts. And that's really what made us unique when I was coaching at Riverdale High School. For those of you out there listening, it was the second largest high school in Tennessee when I first got there. What I was doing is going over to the business world and bringing those business concepts to the athletic world. So I was teaching 7 habits, 5 dysfunctions, good to great, power of intention. Nobody else was doing this in 1999. I'm going to tell you, we were pioneers in that area. And then when I started writing books, companies wanted me to speak to their people. Well, here's what I quickly figured out. The business world needed intensity. They needed focus. They needed direction. They needed bigger goals. They needed scoreboards. They needed everything the athletic world had that they didn't have. And so when I started to speak to adults and coach adults, I said they need the exact same things that we just brought to a championship culture. And that's when it really started to click, Matt, was this collision between business and sport and business. Now, let me tell you the problem. Most athletic coaches will never read a business book. And shame on them, because there's a lot of great stuff there. And most business people never come over to the athletic world. So what I do is I blend those two together. And I see the missing structures on both sides, and I try to bring that to both parties, mainly the business world now. But I still do talk and coach and consult athletic people as well.
Well, you bring up a great point, because as a former athlete, one of the things that I missed that I see now was that I didn't have that business exposure. Mm-hmm. While I was in business school, hey, your boy wanted to play sports more than he wanted to go to college. Mm-hmm. And so what I learned was that what you did for those students was you put them 10 years before the 8 ball, while most of us were 10 years behind the 8 ball. Mm-hmm. How did that translate into better success on and off the court for those athletes that you coached in sports and in their life?
And for those of y'all listening to the show, I got to brag on Matt. I bet Matt could take that long ball, take it deep, couldn't you, big boy? That's what they told me. He was kind of a legend when he was playing. But here's what Matt is doing now. He's catching up also in the business world. Now he's married that athletic and business together. For me, I think when you think about this concept, how did it help us win? That's what a lot of people ask. I actually wrote a book about it called The Anatomy of Winning. This book doesn't get its due. I'm going to tell you, this is one of our best books out there. I think the title scares people off, but here's the deal. Could we enter-engineer a person to win? Could we enter-engineer our kids to win? Could we? So, and the answer is yes. We could teach the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit. What it gave us was what I called a competitive intelligence. And when all things are balanced in a saturated and commoditized world, when talent is equal, how do you win? How do you beat people? You beat people by competitive intelligence. The Intangibles, which is another book I wrote. What is intangible? Energy, trust, chemistry, likability, force, velocity. These are ways you win when all the talent is equal, and somebody's going to win, and it could be this much advantage. So who's coaching you matters. But to answer your question, competitive intelligence comes from how smart your players are through teaching them more than just the sport.
Well, Coach, and I could not agree with you more. I love how you said that, competitive intelligence, because most people either have one or the other. They're either super competitive or they're highly intelligent. And how do you marry the two? And I think that's something that you do extremely well. And I firmly believe it's something that's helped you become ultra successful, but carve out a great niche for yourself, is because you challenge people on a competitive level in order to enhance their intelligence level. And, hey, working with you when I did, I tell you, that was something every single day. I might go home feeling beat up competitively some days, but I was smarter from it on the other side, and vice versa. So I think most people, for our audience, once again, on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, and Pandora, please don't overlook that comment. Competitive intelligence is something that you have to constantly learn, grow from, and enhance every single day. And the Super Coach can be one of those people. And furthermore, make sure you're over at Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all the different social media outlets at Micheal Burt, and it's with an E-A-L, not an A-E-L, okay? And check him out, because he's always delivering daily dimes of great information and something that motivates me every single day. Well, Coach, now that you're enhancing your presence globally and nationally, big banks, Deloitte's of the world, these huge firms that are reaching out to you to consult their teams, their organizations, how have you seen your business model shift, and how are you staying in that competitive intelligence to keep that advantage on the marketplace?
Well, I think we live in an ADD world. There's a couple things I believe. I believe that people are looking for competitive intelligence because of the saturation and commoditization. And for those people listening, what that means is there's too many people competing for the same space, the same dollar. And so they're looking for some edge. I believe that edge can come through who's coaching you. Who's coaching you matters. And so what I bring are systems, structures. I bring methodology to the equation to help people get a lift. We do have the biggest bank in New Jersey, an Investors Bank. I did a 7 speaking circuit with Deloitte in Dallas, Texas, which is the largest consulting firm in the world, or one of the largest. We do have the billion-dollar mortgage companies like Churchill and First Bank and Accurate. And so here's what I believe. I believe when it comes to get this competitive advantage, our business model has had to morph into online platforms, which is where our Total Growth Academy is we've taken coaching online so a person can get it on their mobile device. They can get it in their car. They can get it anywhere. They can get coaching every single day. And through our online academy called the Total Growth Academy, and an individual can get that as low as sometimes $83 a month, $99 a month. So there's really no excuse when it's $3 or $4 a day for you to get better. That's the way we are now coaching people on planet Earth.
Well, and once again, I love that concept, Total Growth Academy, and the fact that you've been able to transition it to an online package, because, most people complain about their life. I said it earlier, your current situation is not your defining moment. I don't have enough money, or I don't like what I'm doing, or I don't like the way I look. And what do you find is the real reason why people stay stuck in their situation and not push forward? An investment in themselves, or the lack of confidence in doing so?
Well, the investment, people that are not confident will not make an investment in themselves. And so I think that's number one. I would say exposure. When every study in the world says it's not your parents that have the most impact on you, it's actually your peers, who you're hanging around, who you're associating with. I had a show on the Fox News Network for a period of time. I spent $15,000 a year to do it. And people ask me, why do you go down there and do the show? Well, I got to spend time with Marcus Lemonis. I got to spend time with Grant Cardone. I got to spend time with Nido Cobain. I get to spend time every week. I got to spend time with somebody. And that was worth $15,000 to me. Wouldn't to be on some little AM station in Nashville that a couple thousand people listen to. It was for the opportunity to spend an hour with someone who was playing at a very high level. And that we call that the aspirational contact. Well, too many people don't do that. They're running around with their peers. Their peers don't think big. They never get outside of where they live. They never travel to other places. They got very little exposure. I wrote about this in Small Towns and Big Dreams. The reason people don't do things from small towns is they never get around big time people. They don't even know what big time looks like. So you got to get out of your environment and get around bigger people. So you need exposure. But if you won't spend $3 on yourself to get better a day, that tells me something about you. You spend $3 on cigarettes, you spend $3 on a 40 somewhere. You know what I mean? I've never drank a 40 in my life, but you spend $3 on a 40, you spend $3 on a frappuccino or cappuccino, whatever the case is, but you won't spend $3 in getting better. Those are liabilities. You're buying liabilities. An asset is when I'll spend money on me. I allot a certain percentage of my income every year to my growth. So it's nothing for me to get on a plane and go somewhere to learn from somebody. I read books. I hear people say, Matt, at the airport, well, I'd never buy a book at the airport. It's $25. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. What if you get one idea that's worth $1 million? How much is the book worth? Was it worth $1 million or was it worth 25? And I hear people say these are such small comments, man. They're just little bitty thinking, and you can't go big if little got you.
Well, I could not agree with you more because I'm walking, living, breathing proof of that very fact. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, most people that sit on money stay sitting, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I found is that if you don't want to break out of your normality, if you want to be what your daddy was or what your mama was, then you're going to just be what you're being right now. And I think to your point, it's that investment. It's making an abnormal purchase, whether it's a book at $25 in an airport or whether it's Total Growth Academy. But, researching Total Growth Academy, Coach, I noticed something that's really unique about that program that no other program that I've seen out there does, and it's that Coach on a Call button. Mm-hmm. Why is that important, and why did you add that feature to your program? So it kind of created, in my opinion, it looks as if it's creating a little bit more comfortability and comfort to those that are on the program. What was the process going into that?
Here's the thing. You can't write a book called Zebras and Cheetahs, which is about looking different and running faster and have something that looks like everybody else. So I looked at everybody's online platforms. They're all great. And there's two differential huge advantages for us. Number one, we have something in that platform for every person in every company. So it's not just sales. We have sales, but we also have management. We also have operations. We also have a Christian devotional series for people that want to start their day with a Christian devotional. We all have personal motivation, right? We've also got management, Total Growth Academy. So I can sell that to any plan and say, look, your frontline person answering the phone, there's something for them. There's something for the CEO. There's something for your sales team. There's something for your managers. That's one huge differential. The other one is the Coach on Call button. Is we realize that as you're going through content, you may get stumped on something. You may not understand phraseology. You may need to talk to a coach. And we have people use that button all the time, really. When you hit that, it comes into us. A lot of times I personally call those people back. They're shocked that I'll call them back. They're like, is this Coach Burt? I'm in here watching your platform, and I had a question about my EOS. Will you look at my explanation of services? Will you help me understand what you said here? And so the Coach on Call is a differential. The Total Growth is a differential, and we give people lots of access in that platform. I'm doing webinars for those people so they can talk to me. They got access to me. Yesterday, I was doing a Skype session with a guy in Mexico that's in there. We just surprised him and called him and did a 30-minute coaching session with him because he's in there. And he's paying, $83 a month. It's not like he's paying thousands of dollars. We like to just do that for our customers because we know without the customer, we can't grow.
Absolutely. And, to that fact, without knowing the customer, you can't grow. You have a concept as well, that net promoter. You're very big about moving customers from the living room to the dining room or the kitchen table. So walk us through, how your program is really geared around that process and why it's so important for you to move people to the kitchen table and do it in a very systematic way.
Well, I want you to and I learned this from Andy Stanley. I got this from a book called Simple Church of How They Grow Big Churches. And he said they put every person that comes to church in one of three categories. They're in the foyer. That means they're lukewarm, just like a person that comes to your house that's a stranger. They're in the living room. That means they're comfortable. Or they're in the kitchen. That means they're on fire. They're in there, right? Which are the people who send you new people. So I said, man, that is awesome. Let's use that to put every one of our customers, every one of our relationships in one of those three categories. They are lukewarm toward us. They may be doing business with us, but maybe they don't like it that much. Maybe we haven't impacted them. Let's move them to the living room where they're comfortable with us. Then let's move that relationship to the kitchen where they're referring us. See, every hard conversation that takes place in a house takes place in the kitchen. When mama says we got to talk about something, it's usually in the kitchen. Now, somebody asked me the other day when we was moving to the bedroom, and I said, not in this talk, right? We're going to stay in the foyer, in the living room, and in the kitchen. But the point is, we classify every one of our customers in one of those three categories. Now, how does it tie to the Net Promoter? Fred Reichheld wrote the book, The Ultimate Question, many years ago, and he said there's only three types of customers. A passive, that means they're lukewarm. I put those in the living room. A detractor, which means they don't like you at all. I put them in the foyer or not even inside the door. And a promoter, which is a person saying positive things about you. He called them a net promoter. And I put those people in the kitchen. I want to add a category to Fred's, and that is the advocate. See, an advocate will fight for you when you're not there. An advocate's got you back. An advocate is always on board with you. Those are people in the kitchen. We tracked the other day. We had 30-something people in the kitchen. We had X number of 25 in the foyer. We had in the living room and some in the foyer. So we got a lot of work to do. And that's an easy way to track where your relationships are with people. It's one of the best things that we teach.
Yeah, and I think it's a very important thing that you teach as well, because it also lets you keep your pulse on your customer base, and maybe you know how to recalibrate a program, or maybe you know a special need. And I think that your unique background in coaching gives you that competitive, intelligent advantage, because you're always thinking about how to make that player better. How do I make that player fit better within the team realm, which ultimately makes the team better? And I think that's what's allowed you to grow this company to the level that it is, and to pardon a phrase from one of my kids' Disney movies, right, to infinity and beyond. Mm-hmm. But, I'll say this, Coach, one of the things that you do better than anyone is the extraction of information and the application to it on paper, the written word, writing, books. You're a student of the game when it comes to reading. And you've written so many books, but you've got this book that I've seen advertised everywhere. Everybody needs a coach in life. And you've said it before, you feel like this is one of your biggest projects. You've put your heart and soul into this. What's the importance of this book, and why do you feel so deep in your soul that this is going to hit the market and create a big impact?
I think people have their life's message. Robert Morris is the blessed life. Although he's a pastor, that's his message. Covey was the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Collins was Good to Great. They write other books, right? But they got their life's work. Their message, my message over the past decade and beyond has been everybody on planet Earth needs a coach in life, because a good coach will have conversations with you don't want to have, make you do things you don't want to do, help you become something you didn't think you could become. So this is the book I probably should have written 11 books ago, because this is number 11. It's coming out March. We're getting ready to release it very soon, where you can buy it. And when you buy it, Matt, we've created so much value. If you don't spend $29 on this book, I had to come to your house and whip you. I had to come to your house and whip you, because we're going to give away with the book 6 sessions of Monster Producer. We're going to give away hours and hours of coaching with me. We're going to give access to Total Growth Academy. I mean, I told Brandon Ray today, man, I may buy 10,000 copies myself just to get all that coaching. So my point is, this is my life's work, okay? And this is my anthem. This is my everything. So in that book can become your coach. You say, well, what's in that book? I tackle every missing structure a person could have. I'm talking everything: the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit, the business, the selling systems. It is a combo of both your personal life, your business life. And so I believe a person, if they never meet me, could read that book, and that book actually becomes their coach. So that book will be out in March 21st. It's already on Amazon. Right now you can purchase it pre-ordered, but I'm telling you, I'm getting ready to offer a deal that you ain't going to want to say no to. And my buddy Cardone offered a serious deal, but I think my deal is going to beat his deal, because I said, man, I got to just keep giving more and more and more and more till they just look at that and go, $29. I ought to give a guy more money just for that book, for all that stuff.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you this, Coach, one of the things you do is that you show up and you always leave people not only with more than they paid for, they came for, but you leave them already looking to pay you for something else. And it's because you are so engulfed in making sure that people, you almost take it personal if somebody doesn't walk away learning something from something that you do or speak. And that's something that I appreciate about you more and more and more. So, Coach, as we begin to wrap up the show, where can people go to find out more about this Total Growth Academy and more about Coach Burt and what you have going on?
Well, CoachBurt.com is the hub for everything. You can find, we put coaching in 3 categories. You can experience it live, You can experience it online, or you can experience a hybrid of online and live. I mean, we want to make it as simple as we can for you. If you're out there in the world, listen, we offer Total Growth Academy just to get started at $1. For the first 30 days, it's $1. You can get in there and see if you like it. It'll upgrade you. Right now, we're getting ready to offer a huge sale at Thanksgiving, right? What do we call it? Brent? Don't be a turkey, man. Don't be a turkey. We're about to offer, maybe $49 a month on the Total Growth Academy. So I really try to eliminate any excuse. My mission is to coach as many people as I can. I believe where we create value, we'll make money from that. So to me, I don't care if you're at the $49 level, the $199 level, the $399 level. Get in at the level, but just get in, man. Get in at $1 for the first 30 days and just get started. That's the concept here. I told the people in Woodbury, just come to my Greatness Factor and walk in the door and tell me you don't feel better when you leave. Just get involved. Then we'll get you in there and get you coached up, but we got to get exposure to more people, thanks to people like you. And I do want to brag on you. Matt, for those people that don't know, came and worked with me for a period of time. He signed up quick. I had to ask him one time. I think he bought me a sandwich over at the deli. And I said, man, I want you to come work with me. He jumped on board, and he got better and better and better. And now he's coming into his own. He's finding his voice. But I like to think that his time with me helped him find that voice. It was a critical part of his time. But there were many nights Matt would go home at midnight and be back here at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't know how he did it. I told my wife, I said, man, this guy's a friggin' maniac, man. He's an animal, and I always respected that about him, man. His engine is huge. So I'm proud of you for starting the podcast, impacting people. I hear a lot of people say positive things about your podcast. And so you are well on your way to the power of great.
Well, Coach, I'll tell you this. So you're being very modest as well, because you have the Super Coach podcast with thousands and thousands of downloads. And here's what I always tell people. In order to be where you want to be in life, you got to get around people that are already there. And one thing that I'm proud to say with my time with you is you taught me things that I didn't need to be doing. Mm-hmm. You taught me things that I shouldn't be doing. But you more importantly taught me that there are coaches out there that want to see you be successful. Mm-hmm. And you pushed me to see my limits. And was I willing to go past them, or was I willing to stop? And I will say that my time with you is not over, right? That's right. We created much bigger opportunities and much bigger relationships to now the student is becoming the teacher, so to speak, right? To have you on my show, everybody should feel proud of that, especially you, because you taught me how to do this. And I want to say thank you for that.
Well, I used to say when I was a women's basketball coach, I had a rule. You stay with me for 3 years, and then you go start your own program. And I said, I'm going to teach you 90% of what I know in case you become one of my competitors. I still got 10% to beat you, but I need you to know, man, I want you to prosper. I want every person to prosper that comes in our program, works for us. I want you to go out there and build the life of your dreams, man. That does my heart very good when I see former people that are working with us or work with us that are being successful.
Absolutely. Well, my family and I have a high level of respect for you. We love you, Coach, and we support you. And, we're advocates for you and always will be. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the Super Coach. Everybody needs a coach in life. And this podcast is a direct reflection of me taking advantage of the Super Coach Micheal Burt and applying the information to my life, which is leading us to this point. So remember this. Every single week, we're right here on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. But more importantly, success is not measured by what you step out of, rather by what you are truly committed to step into. And I thank you every week for allowing me to be with you right here on The Power of Great.